saw this comment on my last video. Apparently I would have had 100,000 subscribers if I was a fan of Real Madrid or Manchester United. Changing allegiances to Manchester United with no actual support or passion just to get more views, clicks, and subscribers. Where have I seen that before?
Kevin De Bruyne!
The graphic that you see before you is a comparison of the net spends of the Premier League clubs over the last couple of years, and as you can see, Manchester City is not on this list. And no, I'm not just showing this specific graph to make us look good. You can look at various different time frames, whether it's Todd Boehly coming in, or Jurgen Klopp coming in, or since Alex Ferguson in the last 5 years since Arteta took over, and whatever time frame you want to use. And if we're talking about the big six in the last 10 years, we are second from bottom. The only team that has spent less than us is Liverpool. That begs the question, do rival fans actually give a damn? Answer is no. Manchester City will always be synonymous with spending. That is why in this video I'm going to be showing you 6 different transfer rumors and 6 different players that all have a genuine to maybe a slight chance of coming to Manchester City. And in my opinion, we should be using our war chest and throwing it at several different players. We are in for a massive rebuild this summer. This is reminiscent of 2017. I could give a damn about the money. I don't care how much it's going to take. Let's get a couple of these players in, and we're going to talk about them. The 2 metrics are necessity out of 5 stars and probability of how much of a chance that this transfer would actually go through, both out of 5 stars. Without further ado, let's begin. First up is Andrea Cambiaso, the left back, the right back, the right mid, the goalkeeper, whatever, don't tell Pep Guardiola, from Juventus. Looking at some of his stats, I see green everywhere. He is a versatile player. We all know this. I've seen about 4 total Juventus games this season, and he played in 3 of them. And he has been absolutely sensational. 80th percentile in non-penalty goals, which means he probably scored like only 2 or 3, which means he's pretty good because not a lot of fullbacks score goals, and he has that ability. 86th percentile in shot creating actions. That is absolutely sublime, especially for a fullback to be able to bombard forward and actually create. Reminiscent of João Cancelo before his ego ran amok. 94th percentile in pass completion rate. Guardiola just had a shattering orgasm hearing that. 91st percentile in progressive passes. Let me tell you something. Abdulkadir's passing yesterday was absolutely sensational. He's our best defender right now. Make him captain. I'm already there. Couscous is amazing. That pass to Jeremy Doku on that left-hand side. That pass to Savinho when he chipped it over. I think it was Destiny Udogie or somebody else. That was sensational. Andrea Cambiaso has that ability to make those passes. In terms of importance, this post from Fabrizio Romano basically highlights that he is very high on our list, and a right back is a high necessity for this club, especially with the departure of Kyle Walker and with Rico Lewis. Might be a little bit controversial, but it might not be if you actually watch a lot of his games. Besides that Chelsea performance at the Bridge, I haven't really seen Rico Lewis get into a shell for a full 90 minutes. He doesn't quite have the physicality yet to be our starting right back for the big games. He can definitely be a great option off the bench and in some of our cup games early on, but regardless, we definitely need a right back at this club. Much like João Cancelo, a fullback with the ability to score goals, Andrea Cambiaso as a left back, he could also play right mid. And this video cuts in on his left foot from the right hand side and scores a lovely goal. Andrea Cambiaso would be a perfect fit for this club. Now in terms of comparing it with actual Serie A fullbacks, he is first in short passes and second in accurate long passes. That, ladies and gentlemen, is exquisite. Now, Andrea Cambiaso might cost in the region of 45 to 60 million pounds, and like I said, I don't really care about the money too much. Just throw the war chest at it. I need this guy. He's 25 years old. He can definitely give us a good 4, 5, 6 years. And in terms of the necessity rating out of 5 stars, I am giving this a 4 stars out of 5 because we definitely have the ability to put players in that position like Abdulkadir and Matheus Nunes and Josko Gvardiol and Nathan Ake and other players. However, we don't have an out-and-out fullback at the club. That is why he ranks highly in terms of necessity out of 5 stars. Rico Lewis is not specifically good enough in those big games in terms of his physicality. Walker's out the club. And in terms of probability, I'm also going to be giving this a similar 4 out of 5 stars because we've had the talks with him. He's been on our list. we prioritize Omar Marmoush instead of Andrea Cambiaso. And that is why I think there's a genuine possibility of Andrea Cambiaso being a Manchester City player in the summer of 2025. And next we have one of the most up-and-coming young stars in the center-back position from Bournemouth, the 19-year-old Spanish Wonderkid, Dean Huijsen. I'm definitely mispronouncing that. He was born in the Netherlands, but he is Spanish in terms of his nationality. And looking at some of his stats, ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely crazy. Just like Andrea Cambiaso, the shot-creating actions, sublime. 96th percentile in shot-creating actions, 98th percentile in interceptions. That, ladies and gentlemen, is juicy. 91st percentile in blocks, 92nd percentile in clearances. This guy has the ability to pass the ball, intercept, block, and he's 19 years old, and he's about 6'4", 6'5". In terms of progressive passes, he is 4th in progressive passes compared to some of the world's youngest and some of the world's best young center backs, including Pau Cubarsí, who in my opinion, Cubarsí is the best young center back in the world right now, and that is absolutely sensational. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine having the ability of a center back that's 6'4", young, and has the ability to dribble and score a goal at will. Ruben Diaz can wish. Now, in terms of this Fabrizio Romano post, he has a £50 million release clause, and he's attracting a lot of interest from a lot of the top clubs, including Liverpool, including Real Madrid. Now, in terms of his rating, he is a young, up-and-coming center back. In terms of the necessity rating, I am going to be giving this a 3 out of 5 stars because we have Simpson Pusu, we do have Vitor Hayes, and we do have Abdou Koudir in that position. We do have a couple other center backs, and I don't know to the extent of our departures. If we're going to get rid of Ake, Stones, and Akanji, then yes, I would bump this up to a 4 or a 5. Now, in terms of the probability, I don't see this as a 4 or 5. I see this as a 3, and the reason I see this as a 3 is because we are going to be dealing with a lot of other clubs. You are going to be competing with a lot of big names for this transfer, especially given the fact that he is Premier League proven. Not to mention that £50 million release clause can be triggered by just about anybody. And next, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go across to Portugal in Liga Portugal for a Sporting center back by the name of Ousmane Diomande. And looking at some of his stats here, not a lot of green compared to Dean's, but regardless, 92nd percentile in pass completion rate. Guardiola is going to love that. And that 86th percentile in successful take-ons, that is quite extraordinary. 73rd percentile in interceptions. He does rank low in terms of blocks and tackles. That is why I am not keen on this guy as much as Dean. But the thing is, what Dean lacks in a tiny bit of physicality, Ousmane has that in abundance. Ousmane Diomande is strong, he's physical, he's got the pace to track back. Sporting are currently atop of Liga Portugal, and he is basically, no, he's not even basically, he is their best defender. He is their main pillar. No need to regurgitate what I said from previously with Dean. It's going to be the same 3 out of 5 stars in terms of necessity for Ousmane Diomande. However, in terms of probability, instead of 3 stars that I gave for Dean, I'm going to be giving him 2 stars. The reason is because he's going to be a little bit more expensive than Dean. I'm expecting a fee of around 60 to 70, potentially even 80 plus million euros for this guy. I honestly think it's going to cost that much, and there hasn't been a lot of rumors for Diomande in the last couple of weeks, but he's still a very strong, young, fast, up-and-coming center back, and I would love to have him at the club. And next we have the goalkeeper, in my opinion, the best goalkeeper in Liga Portugal, the same league as Diomande, and it's Diogo Costa. He has, in terms of his stats, one of the highest save percentages in the top 7 leagues this season, with Porto being 3rd in the table, 6 points off the top 2. His saving percentage, ladies and gentlemen, is only bested by David De Gea. His main attribute, given the footage that I've seen of him over the last couple of weeks, is reflexes, and that is why, especially his performances in the Champions League, and especially for Porto against Benfica and Sporting, that is why he is attracting a lot of attention. First goalkeeper in Euros history to save 3 penalties in a shootout. That doesn't happen by fluke, ladies and gentlemen. That is special. I don't know where the hearts of Ortega and Ederson lie. In terms of necessity, just pure logic, regardless of any emotion or any future ordeals, it's a 1 out of 5 in my opinion. We have both Stefan Ortega and Ederson. Ederson yesterday was absolutely sensational. And in terms of probability, I'm also giving this a 2 stars out of 5, even though he does come from a country and a league where we do have a lot of transfer business with. He is 25 years old. He can definitely give us a good 7, 8, 9 years. But however, if Ederson is going to be flirting with the move to Saudi Arabia, and reports of that are going to be gaining steam in the next couple of months, that I do think both the necessity and the probability ratings are going to increase. But for right now, I'm just not 100% sure where Stefan Ortega and Ederson are going. Next, we have the brilliant box-to-box midfielding maestro from AC Milan, Tijani Reinders. I'm definitely mispronouncing that. Look at those stats, ladies and gentlemen. Green everywhere. Oh my god, it's like the Amazon. 98th percentile in non-penalty goals, 87th percentile in shot creating actions. He's very high in terms of his percentiles for both pass completion and progressive passes. That is what we like to see, especially in a center mid. Apparently, to Fabrizio Romano, Tijani Reinders signed a new deal until June 2030 on February 18th, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to convince AC Milan to let him go. Now, in terms of the ratings I'm going to give, first of all, for necessity, I do think that we definitely need to strengthen our midfield. That's why I'm giving it a 4 out of 5 stars, in my opinion. The reason is because Gundogan, Kovacic, and Bernardo Silva could all be leaving. If all 3 of them leave, then that 4 out of 5 stars should be a 5. Given the fact that we could potentially sign a fullback this summer with Andrea Cambiaso and Matias Nunes having the ability to go back into the center mid, with Nico O'Reilly, with Nico Gonzalez, and obviously with Rodri coming back, is a necessity so incredibly pivotal that we should be focusing all of our resources to it? I would say no, but I definitely think it's high. I don't want to be put in a position where we're going to be bringing on Ilkay Gundogan and Bernardo Silva off the bench every single game and starting them every single game. So midfielding depth is really important. If all 3 of those players leave, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, and Kovacic, then we need to do everything we can to sign a player like this. Probability, unfortunately, I'm going to be giving this a 2 out of 5, and that's for a variety of reasons. There's not a lot of reports of him actually coming to Manchester City in the last couple of months. Less rumors, and Serie A is notoriously difficult to get a deal across, and he absolutely loves AC Milan. And finally, we have, in my opinion, a top 5 player in the world in terms of talent. 98th percentile in shot creating actions, 99th percentile in passes attempted, 82nd in blocks, which is really interesting in my opinion. 93rd in successful take-ons. Leverkusen and City have flirted with a swap deal. Manchester City giving away James McAtee and us getting Florian Wirtz. Now, of course, I'm not afraid to give my opinion. I don't care how it makes me look. It's my opinion. If you want to disagree, that's great. There is no cult-like mentality on this YouTube channel. Everybody has their own opinion, and I welcome it all. I would say that James McAtee is a talented player, but if we have the ability to get a Florian Wirtz, a player like that, a Skywalker, ladies and gentlemen, a player that can be the face of a franchise, it's night and day, ladies and gentlemen. I love James McAtee, but he has so much to learn if he wants to get to Florian Wirtz's level, and they're practically the same age. I actually think that James McAtee might be slightly older. If we really need a player like this, I'm going to be giving this a necessity rating of a 2 out of 5. The reason is because we have Phil Foden and Omar Marmoush who can play in those shadow striker positions in the midfield of the park with James McAtee coming in. We don't need Florian Wirtz, but the luxury of having this guy is just too big to ignore. For the probability rating, I am going to be giving this a 3 out of 5 stars, even with the enormous fee. There have been reports after reports after reports of him coming to Manchester City. If Phil Foden continues to be putting these abysmal performances in the middle of the park, then that necessity rating is going to go up. For right now, I don't think we severely need him. However, he's such a good player that I would love for the ability to have him at our club, and he can take us to the next level, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes another video, this time about transfers. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know down in the comments down below what you think about each potential transfer. Who do you most want to see? Who do you least want to see? Which positions do you think we need to strengthen the most? And which positions do you think we don't need to strengthen at all? Of course, if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing. I am pretty close to 10,000 subscribers. Y'all are fucking awesome. Thank you all so much for your love and support over the last couple of months. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you all next time.